let's talk breeding. Seen some users, have some questions. I've seen some users on stream interacting with the system and what's built on Giddy Up, kind of how breeding works, what options are available. Might be not as intuitive as I thought it was. Give a little brief rundown on how to use this and why I built it. Also, I'll say this, not all this is my ideas. Kind of the weight parameters and stuff like this. This is feedback from big stables and small stables. And they give me their input, tell me what kind of features that would be neat, and I throw them on here. But let's get started. So one of the things you should do is kind of go to profile, if you haven't already, and sync your stable. There'll be a button in there that says, or there'll be a text box that says stable ID. You sync your stable. Pull all your horses, take about a minute for big stables. So after about a minute, you'll get this view under stable. And this will kind of pull all your horses, put them in a nice little list here and stuff. And you can kind of look through, filter how you want. But we're going to focus on breeding today. So I'm going to look at my mares and see what we got. So retired mares. Let's see here. We'll do it by Giddy Up score, grade score. It's kind of a overall ranking for a horse that takes in subgrades into account, not necessarily the overall grade. So subgrades, stars, and that's about it. I have this really good racing one that I'm going to work on, try to get out here for you guys here for too long. That'll also rank them by kind of a racing score. Let's focus on one that I don't think I've ran a lot of information on. So we have La Chimichanga, LDS. You can kind of look at the curve of the subgrades. +1 stamina, +1 finish, heart, up there, quite a ways. But +3 overall, starting speed, if I'm looking for a stayer, not real relevant to what I'm trying to build or what I want to accomplish. So the checkboxes on the right, that means you want those included whenever we're looking at studs. Right now we're going to focus on the mare view. I'll show you what that looks like. But if I uncheck these later on, they won't be recommended whenever we're looking at studs. So let's look at the view from a mare. So let's do La Chimichanga. So if you hit the heart button, it brings you to the breeding page with them kind of loaded in the mare. You can also get to this page and then it'll load a list of your mares. You can type them in, whatever. But let's look at some of the new kids on the block. So let's do 3 to 5. Those horses are left dirt soft. We'll do left dirt soft. And then I'll disable this for now. And we'll apply filters just right off the bat. So let's look at the SS minuses. So that ran everything. But let's look at the SS minuses. What's out there? How many do we get? 364. Let's do SS minuses and S pluses. For left dirt soft. This horse has, could go either way. So one of the things you could do is I could uncheck soft and I can do ignore condition. Condition is, you have direction, surface, condition, soft firm. Check that, and it'll pull in the firm and the softs, right? And rank them by the Giddy Up score. This horse could probably go either way, but we got a half star in softs. We'll stick to that. So what this does, ranks my Giddy Up score. So you have, horses ranked by that in this order. Don't focus on, I focus on subgrades. That's how I kind of build the Giddy Up score instead of just starting from the base score. right? You know, this horse, this S plus that's showing up here is a, you know, +3. You know, you see some of these, you see some of these top tier S pluses kind of make their way into the rankings of the SS minuses. You know, +3, +3. That's what it's all about, right? Subgrades. Subgrades make the overall grade. So what you can do is pop down this little guy, and it'll show you some kind of stuff. The gap analysis. I got this from A.I. Paddock. I believe one of the earlier papers he wrote, or blog posts he wrote, it was, I think some of the strongest racers, he said, had the smallest amount of gap in between them, in between the subgrades. I think that's what his analysis kind of pointed out. So I kind of put it a gap analysis here, right? Like, what's the overall spread between the two? Like, I'm getting blasted in start. From the sire, right? I have low start. Oh, we'll pop out, you know, stars comparison, GS and edge scores, right? So this should probably be more of an absolute value between the two, but the sire is 265 points higher than the mare. As they come closer, you know, you're going to be, you know, not that far in overall Giddy Up score. Edge score, that is basically the morning line, is represented in a more intuitive way for me. I think it makes sense maybe for most people, but basically 1.0, the horse was a favorite in all the races it's ran. So you can see here the sire, you know, Leroy was always kind of in the top morning line percentages of the races. Right over here we pull the lineage up to like inbreeding. So the past 4. So you can see this, the dad was an S plus, mare was an S plus, and then down here it shows the mare side. So Benny the Dip and Due Norse. So what you can do though, say you want to breed these two, you know, you hit this checkbox and you get this breed button down here at the bottom. So you can load all your breedings in here, and this thing kind of pops up. And we'll add a couple more in here, right? And blue will stay highlighted and shows that you got to breed with that horse. Just kind of keeps it on your radar. Where have I been? What have I looked at? You know, we'll add this guy in here, right? So I haven't even looked at him, but now we got 2 in here. But like I said, I'm looking for a stayer horse. One of the things that's really cool about this is I'm going to delete these 2 horses. Is we can now weight the subgrades and stars that we want, right? So like, what's important for a stayer horse? Stamina. So I'm just going to throw a 5 on it. And it's going to boost the subgrade stats on the back end and pull them back in an order, right? So stamina, we'll do finish. Those 2 are important. I like a little heart. We'll throw a little heart in there, and temper. What's the temper on this horse? Am I trying to boost it? It's in grade. But we'll throw a little boost on temper too. So when I search for this, it's going to give me back sires weighted towards what I'm looking for. Oh, condition. Let's throw like, you know, 5 for soft. Like, give me the best. Oh, give me the best horses for this, right? So apply filters. Comes back. Boy, this dude got messed up on that start. So that's funny. But Baby Godzilla, right? So stamina and finish, super high. Turn on the subgrade highlights and explain those a little bit, right? So this is like a ranking in the archetype of how rare or unique the subgrades are. So Baby Godzilla, purple's like the top 10% of that subgrade, and the subgrade is the grade, direction, surface, condition. Yep. So in SS minus, left dirt soft, speed on Baby Godzilla is in the top 25. And you can come down here and look at the colors, right? Purple, top 10%. So pretty rare in that archetype. Blue, pretty, you know, rare. Yellow, average. Orange, kind of below average. Red's super common. So we can look at this horse, right? So, you know, start's okay. You know, below average, but whatever. I'm looking, you know, speed. Speed's good. But I'm looking for the stayer archetype. Like, how do we look going longer? Got a bunch of, you know, the good S pluses that pop up in here. But let's just look at the S minuses. You know, I'm trying to jump grades. You know, what was this horse, an S? Let's do a quick breed. Yeah. So we're looking at the SS minuses. So we got how much they are, Giddy Up score. Well, they're not really sorted by Giddy Up score anymore. That's just kind of like the default view. Back end sorted them according to our weights. We got the edge scores. We got the earnings per start. We got the win place shows, the breeds, total stars. So let's just pick out a couple that, you know, might be kind of interesting to look at. So I'm looking at stamina and finish essentially. To see like what would be a good stay horse and stars, right? Like, all right, Sound of the Warrior, good edge score, good earnings per start, good win place show, 4,000. So I can come down here. Let's potentially run some breed reports with him. So then we come down here. Sound of the Dudes, didn't race, kind of bad stars, 3.5. Inbreeding, can't be doing that. But it'll show you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but we have these two in common. So you can come up here and click hide inbreedings. He's no longer in our list. Well, let's keep looking. Obliterator. He got that big old heart. Top 25% in this archetype. Everything else is pretty common. So one thing you can do too is like you can just go ahead and just sort by like everything, or you know you can just sort by this. But what it does is it removes the weight sorting, right? So now you're sorting by finish, and you can kind of look through here and you know make your decision on potentially who you want to potentially breed with. So let's just pick who has a good edge score. Full of the Storm. And just because I have these weights in here doesn't mean this horse liked running there, right? So we got a pretty good gap there, but we'll just throw him on here and we'll go check him out. Like, where did he run good at? He might not be a stayer horse. Well, that's where he performed. But just because, you know, blends that with the weights doesn't mean that's where they like. So I'm sorted by finish. If you want to go back to your original sorting with your weights, you clear sort right up there and it goes back. So now you're sorted by your weights. So we got a couple of horses to look at. So you can pull this up, you hit the breed in individual buttons, or you can hit the breed all, right? Which one was that? Sound of the Warrior. Well, I think I did something with the pop-up settings. You will get a pop-up warning, you know, whenever this thing tries to load up 20 of them. So you need to be careful. Or you need to not be careful, but you need to accept, like, hey, allow these pop-ups. I guess I didn't do it on this computer. But then you can just run your build, you know, your breeding report. So hit that. Bow. And you can hit that, right? And those will stay, you know, this little breed cart will stay with you in your browser session. Won't do across computers just yet. Probably working on saving that to the database soon. So that's kind of the view from the mare, right? Now let's clear this. Right, so we'll do 3 to 5 and we'll apply the filters. Or actually yeah. So we cleared the mare. Now we're kind of like looking at it from a sire point of view with your stable. That's why linking your stable is kind of important. So we have our weights still, right? So we're going to apply, you know, hit the apply filters. Let's use a different archetype. Let's go with right turf. Firm, hide inbreeding, and apply. So now we have the same weights, but we're looking at stayer horses and right turf firm. So this is from the sire point of view. We cleared out our mare. So if we pop down here, it'll show you sorted by your grade score, compatible mares with that stud. All the inbreeding is done on the front end for now. I'm going to put it on the back end eventually. That's why you only see 3 horses in this paginated view. If you did hide inbreeding, if you have that unchecked, you'll actually see pages of 10, but, your potential inbreeds. But so if you get weird pagination issues, it's because I'm doing the inbreeding on the front end. I'll swap it to the back end at some point. But yeah, so I mean, all right, what we got here. How they look with M4 or 8-inch nipples. All right, huge grade gap or huge gap, but they're both kind of favorites throughout their whole lives. Pop them in there. Saves down in your breeding cart. Right, now you got something with made in the grass. Yeah, really exceptional finish. Kind of average stamina in the subgrade. What's the best combo? Maybe this guy down here. He's got, a couple top 25s, right? Didn't seem to run the best. Not a lot of, earnings per start. Great compatibility though, right? So I know who Pooty is. Pop them in here. Fetches the lineage for us. You can take a quick peek. If you're super into bloodlines, you can figure that stuff out. And you can trash, this essentially unchecks the mares in your stable. So if you uncheck stuff, you came here, they wouldn't have the checkbox, if you wanted to just exclude them. But here's a cool feature too, right? So I know in right turf, I got a couple in-house studs and they're old, but I can do my listings, right? So I can do, what does my stable look like with my mares from a stud POV, right? So right turf firm, I got like 4 out there. I only use a couple of them. I use Coachella Speed and Alpha 9. And you can see still as, right turf firm, Coachella Speed has, exceptional stamina and finish. But then I can pop them down and I'm looking at my stable, my studs, my mares. And I can look, what's compatible with what. So the first 2 pages, you can see we have some sort of a inbreeding. So can't breed them with Giddy. 8-inch nipples, can't do it. Indian Wells, right? So once it pulls that, we got Indian Wells, so can't do that. This is super cool too, if you just want to focus on your stable. And you can see, the price adjusts, $2,000 for an S plus. You can, I'll probably do this breed. So, because I know what to expect. And in here, you got your mares, and the potential studs you want. So another cool feature though too was somebody asked me, to take a look at this. We'll reset everything. We'll just clear everything. But we'll go to SS minus. Smokehouse is showing up. So we'll just limit to 3 to 6. Now I'm going to go to global mares. So this is going to show all the mares, right? And we will search for Smokehouse. I mean, he's down there, but you're going to need to load a sire in this list to kind of see the sire POV. So on global mares, I can uncheck that and it'll show mine, but without these filters, so it'll show mine from a sire POV. Who's in my stable? But I don't think I really got anything in right dirt firm. I need to put his stars on here. I made this real quick. Yeah, but I think right dirt. I don't got anything. So that's cool. All right, but anyway, so we can go to global mares. We'll do Smokehouse. This will pull everything, so you do have to do right dirt. Let me make sure. I need to put his stars on here, or what he's into. So he's right dirt firm. Apply, and we got the age too. So the age filter works on this too, but it's going to sort the entire population of mares out there by their grade score. So now you can potentially be like, well, who's parked? Like, who's a good match for this guy? Who's a good match for Smokehouse? Let's go see what he ran. Right, so he was a stayer horse. So let's put our weights. So we know he, what makes a good stayer horse, right? Finish, stamina, and we want some good stars because he has good stars. So I don't know. We'll put 2s across the board. Apply big weights to them. Apply the filters. So sort of by weights right now, not by grades. You know, Giddy Up score, grade score. Oh, I only read the subgrade stuff for the studs. I'm not running it for the mare population. Yeah, that would just be a lot. I'm going to do a lot more with this view, but you know, it kind of gives you a good idea of what's out there and potential good matches. So let's say Shock for All. You're like, okay, this looks like a good matchup. Heart kind of sucks. I don't know. You go to Falcon X Princess. Load them up. Who owns them? I'll put the stable view on there. I made this real quick just to get this out here. But you can see Blood Lustiano owns this horse. You can go there and, you know, there's his Twitter. Maybe he's not going to breed this horse. He isn't going to breed this horse. He's been breeding this horse. But potentially, you know, for smaller stables, right? You know, search for the S pluses. Up the age. Let me look for, you know, people, you know, maybe they ran some, so we'll do 6 to 16. Apply these filters that match Smokehouse. All right, so, you know, Enduring Storm, are they still being bred? Probably, but Tavern Stables. I'll put this on the place. All right, well, look. They took a year off from breeding. So maybe you go, I'm going to talk to this dude and see if I can't pick up this mare. If he's not going to breed her, why not? You know, good edge score. It's always in the top. I mean, it's a +4 mare that looks like it didn't get bred last season. You know, didn't have the best times, but maybe with Smokehouse, it would. All right. I think that covers everything. I kind of want to like give a crash course on this real quick. Let y'all know, you know, you can find what you want. You know, I just had to kind of, you know, maybe give a better explanation. I saw some people, you know, on stream kind of like going through it and being like, oh, what are the weights and how do you use them and what do they mean? No worries. So hopefully this video will kind of help you understand the breeding stuff and, you know, what's possible, what you can do. Yeah, I'm excited about breeding. Not really. Sharting and farting. Kind of looking at this horse here lately. I haven't been breeding this one, but trying to get into LDS a little bit. So we'll see. Not the best subgrades and whatnot, you know. Trying to get into this. I had some breed reports with him, you know. Thing with this horse though, it's like I think I was trying to run it at a distance, yeah, like 8 to 12 and just sucking, but it was probably definitely more of a gallop, you know, maybe like with that speed 6, 7. Oh god. But the start, you know, not the best either. So if I want to breed this horse, I would look for Sharton Barton. Let's load you up. Let's look at some of the new blood out there. You were LDS. Let's keep the subgrades. We can ignore the condition, right? And let's look at, you know, let's boost start speed. Temper was -1. I don't care about stamina and finish really with a sprinter. Temper was okay. What I've noticed is there's not like a lot of SS minuses with good stars in SS or in LDS. But, you know, I mean, direction's going to be important to me. Condition, you know, surface. So let's see. For sharting and farting. Sprinters. There we go. All right, put a big start weight, speed weight, climb to the top. I think I did actually run a Art of the Temple breed report. So, sharting, farting, go to breed. I did. I don't know what that looks like. There's a good site out there, full forecast. Just pops up for me. Probably needs a better URL, but this dude hooks it up. You know, get a quick look at it. So it potentially probably be an S plus. So +1. Speed is going to be teeter-tottering. +2. So +1 start, +1 speed, +1 heart. Stamina and finish, not really worried about with the sprinter. Should probably be good for the finish to kind of be bad. That looks like it's more applicable to like 9 furlongs plus. So if it can drag my horse down. If I'm not really looking to just go for grades, highest grade there is, this will definitely yank my horse downwards to be a good racer. An S plus. I mean, that heart and the temper looks good. That temper's going to go either way. Right on the, depends on the RNG. I mean, our stars are just all over the place. We would hope to roll 1-5, but you know, whatever. I mean, you know, that's pretty good. I think for a sprinter, start to a S plus sprinter, that could work. I ain't gonna win no majors or nothing, but I had some breeding plans for this horse. You know, maybe it goes SS minus, low SS minus, right? Retire that full and gosh, 90 days and have something else to build off of. So game's endless, man. Lots of ways to play it. Just wanted to show you real quick how to use the breeding stuff. Hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully it'll help you find new breeds. A bunch of people reached out to me. I think it, you know, 5 or 6 reached out to me and said, hey, this helped me find, you know, 6 more, 10 more breeds late last season. So hopefully it's hopefully it helps you this season. All right. Short video turned long, 30 minutes. Peace.